Our country's leadership bankrupts public schools so their kids can thrive in private ones.
Well, how is it possible that there's a child who's studying under a tree at this day and age?
You can tell what kind of education or system someone went through by how they present themselves. I have friends from primary school who, when they failed, they were sent to public schools and then they came back.
Oof, okay.
A bit insane.
I don't know how that makes me feel.
Yeah. If public schools were good, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If people cared, if our government cared for children, if the teachers cared for children, this would not be a conversation we're having. And we have to...
Sometimes it was hard. Oof. You'd get into trouble and you'd be beaten like a dog in school and at home.
Public school kids work hard for success. Private school kids buy it.
That is. Hi, my name is Ariel. I'm 25 and I've been in private schools all my life.
Wow. Okay.
Now I work in marketing.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Reay with an E, Reay. And I am 35. And I am a singer, songwriter, and recording artist. And I also co-own a cosmetic shop with my mom, which I run. Apart from that, I do so many other things. And I'm also a mom to one very handsome little dude. Not very little, he's almost my height.
Oh, wow.
10 years old.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I got him when I was your age.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Private school kids couldn't last a semester at a public school.
They could not. If I'm being very honest, maybe some could. But generally, a lot of the comforts we're afforded at private school do not allow us to adapt in a lot of environments well, especially not in Kenya. Yeah. It's... No, I'm thinking of all my friends and people I know. That's not going to happen.
Well, maybe you could if you tried. I think if you wanted to, you would. If you had no other choice, you would.
Oh, yeah, certainly.
Yeah. So I think it depends with how you look at it.
I agree.
But I also agree with what you said. In public schools, we never, we'd always look at the other side. We called you guys the other side. I'm like, oh my God, I wish I had a swimming pool in my school, for example. That looked like a luxury in my time. And so I think it felt like, especially with my background, I was born into an Akorino family. I don't know if you know what that is.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, so I'm like, I would really want to experience that. Yeah, so I think if we tried, if either side tried, we could adapt. Yeah.
I think though it's interesting you say that because I think a lot of parents put their kids in private schools for a broadening of experience or perspective, but it kind of it opens you to a world of other things and different ways people live, but locally, you're very closed off and sheltered. And you're right. If we wanted to, we could adapt. But a lot of kids, at least the ones I know from that time, I don't think would be open to that. I know certainly when I was younger, that's not something I wanted. Like going to a public school was a punishment. Like I have friends from primary school who, when they failed, they were sent to public schools and then they came back. So you're right. Yeah.
Wow, a punishment.
Yeah.
Oof, okay.
A bit insane.
I don't know how that makes me feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, also, I was punished all my life. My mom.
Oh, no.
But I think every parent did what they could. Yeah. So if you were given private education, then that was the best your parents could do. And that is the best my parents could do. And so just be grateful and, try to learn from the other side, at least get some experiences from this other side. And we try to understand your perspective,
Yeah.
Not to think that we are less privileged. We're just differently enabled. Yeah.
I agree with that. I like that.
Public schools are unfairly stigmatized.
Well, I think when you're in a public school, you don't really think you're stigmatized until you learn from the other side that there are privileges that you don't have. And then now is when the stigma kicks in. You're like, oh, so there's that and that. How come I do not have that? How come we don't have access to such things? Like you'd have, I think the farthest I went on a school trip is Mount Longonot. That was the farthest. Now, I remember I was in class 7. So my friends from the other side, they're going to Mombasa. I actually went to Mombasa when I was in college.
What?
Like in my 20s.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, wow. I didn't know there was that, I wouldn't say we are, okay, maybe it depends with how you look at it. I would credit my parents for letting us know that this is the best they could do. And they did the very best they could. Sometimes it was hard. Oof, you'd get into trouble and you'd be beaten like a dog in school and at home.
Yeah.
So they call your mom or your dad and they're told that so-and-so did this and that. And they don't even listen to your side of the story. So at the end of the day, you have a victim mentality all your life because no one will listen to your side of the story. They go with what they heard first. Whoever talked to them first is what goes. And definitely it's the teacher. So you do not have any opportunity to, to speak for yourself. That in some way made me, close myself in a box. I'd feel, as I was growing up, I'd feel that less is actually what I deserve. And so when someone brought more, I thought they were looking for something else. And so I'm questioning every opportunity that comes my way because I don't feel like I am good enough for it. So it's something that you have to live with until probably you get, you maybe connect to someone who understands life more than you do. And they help you understand that where you have come from is not where you're going and it is not who you are. So the stigma is there. Sometimes it creeps in even when your mind is renewed. You get to some point and you're like, maybe it's for someone else. Yeah. You live with it. But at some point, if you're empowered, it makes things easier. Yeah.
It's really interesting that you said, you then end up having a victim mentality going into your adult life, because I've noticed that a lot of people, like people I work with, just meeting out and about, you can tell what kind of education or system someone went through by how they present themselves.
Yeah.
Not physically, but just like on a body language kind of way. I find, and it's frustrating sometimes, it's like at work especially, because it's like, why aren't you confident? And I think, because in primary school, I did 844, and it was a private school, so it is absolutely not the same experience. But some of the traumatizing things that happened during that era made me, I think I would have been very different if I had been in a British system or different private school from that age, because they break you a little. Well, not a little.
A lot.
Yeah. And I can imagine that it was much, much worse in a public school, because you're seen, not heard. And it also speaks to the way that we view children and what they should be doing. But it makes very complacent adults. You don't ask questions. You don't want to rock the boat. I think it is sad. And I think too, the question is, are they unfairly stigmatized? I don't think I know how to answer that question. I think maybe even in a politically correct way, because yes, like they are unfairly stigmatized. Not all public schools are bad, but no, because the Kenyan public school system is not for children.
Wow.
It is not built to build up strong, confident adults. Yeah, who can move through life independently in all aspects. Yeah, I think.
Well, I agree with what you're saying, because I remember my first job. I had a boss who was younger than me, 2 years younger. But she was privileged. She was married to this very wealthy guy, and she felt she could, step on me. And I'm here for a secretary job, and I'm doing the cleaner, I'm doing the messenger, I'm doing the I was doing everything. And then she would send me go get her food, and she just passed by that same restaurant, and she wouldn't care if I had lunch. And I didn't have lunch. I sometimes didn't even have breakfast before I went to work. And I remember her spitting on the floor. And yes, and I heard her spitting, and she just touched the food. She barely ate that food, and it was more than 1,000 bob. To me, it was a lot. I mean, if she gave me that 1,000 bob, I'd have lunch the whole week.
Yeah.
And she called me. She was naive. I mean, she was just privileged, but very, very arrogant. She called me. She said, "Rahab, could you come up here?" And I said, "Yeah." So I went up the stairs, and she told me, "Tomorrow morning, I want you to scrub this carpet." I was like, "Say what now?" But I didn't say anything. So the next day, I wake up early in the morning. I went to the office, and I did as she said. Mind you, before then, I would represent my peers, especially in church, when they had something they needed addressed. They'd say, "Ray, wewe ndio mkubwa. Go speak on our behalf." And I think my mom did a really good job, especially because now being a firstborn, I was responsible over my siblings. And so it came to me naturally that I should speak on behalf of the other people. It got me into trouble many times, but then again, it built my confidence. So I wasn't like someone who went to a public school. I haven't been like that all my life because there was some empowering that came with my responsibility over my siblings and the whole crew. So I at this point, I'm thinking, Ray, you're the one who speaks on behalf of people. Like, how is she stepping on you? Like, this one, like, slap someone. And I'm still an Akorino, and this is my first job. So I don't want to, I don't want to do anything that will jeopardize this opportunity because I really needed the job. And I had just lost my dad a few months before that. So I felt like I should, step in, help my mom out. Not that I could. I mean, I was barely getting paid, but, I felt I should do something. Yeah. But here I am being told by someone who's younger than me, scrub that floor, and I am there on my knees.
Yeah.
So the stigma is really there. And as you said, honestly, I now come to think of it, I think it is not built for kids. Because they don't build you. They like, oh gosh, they like disassemble you slowly until you're nothing. And then you're now working with them and with us, and you're thinking, chick, why aren't you standing up for yourself? Like, who does that? Like, I would work for 13 hours straight without even taking a glass of water. Yeah. And I didn't have breakfast. I didn't have lunch. I didn't have water the whole day. And I'm going back to breastfeed my child.
Hey, so that's an abusive workplace.
Still,
crazy.
It comes from the background.
Yeah.
Because I'm taught that this is what you deserve. So you're not being built. So unless your parents are really strong people, I think you'd suffer all your life. Yeah.
Public school kids work hard for success. Private school kids buy it.
That is certainly a question. I don't think that's entirely true. And I'll speak from the private school perspective. The people I went to school with, and I would say myself, are some of the hardest working people I know. There are certainly people who are buying their success. And I think that comes more from a class behavior, like social class behavior, background thing, rather than school. Because because if your parents are not going to let you coast by, you're not going to coast by.
True.
And if you want to, you can leave the house and do that elsewhere. I know my parents would never let me coast and just like do anything I wanted. There was a place I was going with this. There was a place. But I do think that it is a perception because of the kind of people that end up at private schools, and especially more expensive private schools, that because of who your parents are, your life is bankrolled, you're set for anything you want to do, and that's not entirely true.
Yeah. I agree. Because I had friends when I was in school, I had friends from private schools who were really hardworking. I mean, they could afford it, but they had to put in the work. And now as a parent, my child has never been in a public school. I told myself, there's no way you're going through what I went through. You're going to, get the best. I will give you what I can afford. And I have seen him put in the work. I remember the first school he went to, it wasn't that good. So when I transferred him to a different school that was higher than where he was, he looked like he'd never stepped into class and he had to start over. And I remember his teacher was really concerned about him because he was kind of traumatized because he's gone into a school where people are speaking English only and he's used to Swahili, and sometimes the teacher will just burst into Kikuyu. So he's like, so the first day he came home, he said, "Mommy, am I going to be able to speak like the other kids? They're speaking in English." And I was like, "You will." Because my mom told me when I joined nursery school, I only knew Kikuyu. And so I was really afraid of going to school because everyone was speaking in Swahili and I didn't know Swahili. And so she was telling me, if you did it, your son will do it. And so I used my mom's example to encourage my child. And I remember when he started speaking in English, he had very many stories, but that had very broken English. I remember him telling me, "I love you anymore if you want." And I was like, what does that mean? And he was really trying to express his love for me. And I understood that. But he put in the work. In less than 2 months, he'd say something and I was like, wow, I never knew that word at your age. I would be so impressed. And then I saw him try to catch up with the rest. So he put in the work. He wasn't fed. I certainly didn't pay more for him to get more attention. But the teacher just saw that he needed more attention and she gave it her best. In a public school, that would never happen. He probably would be worse because the other kids would be like, oh, so you came from a private school, now you're in a public school. So how does that feel? You thought you'd be up there, now Yeah, so I don't think they're spoon-fed or their success is bought. Of course, there are bad apples everywhere. But not everyone is like that. I've seen people put in the work and they've become very successful people. Yeah.
The disparity between private and public schools speaks to Kenyan elitism.
Absolutely. It's what we talked about with values and class. So I'm trying not to make this political because I will go into my spiel. But if our government, because they run the schools, if our government does not care for children and their concern is on how little money they can spend in running these institutions that they said they will spend, then certainly your children will not do well at school because your goal is not educating and empowering children. It is saving money. And if your further goal from that is getting money, then yes.
Yeah, I agree. If you're going to a private school, you have to pay more. So why should you withhold the money from a public school and you still want them to, at some point in life to be at the same level as this other person? It doesn't make sense. No matter how much they try to convince us, it does not make sense at all.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. There's not much more to say.
Extracurricular activities are a luxury reserved for private school kids.
God. In my day, that was a reality.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the most you could do is PE. That was it. Though we had, I was privileged to be in a modern public school that had Indians. And so there was baseball, there was cricket. So I would see those things there. But really, it wasn't for everyone. It was for them. You know, they're the only ones in the team. So all these other things, you see them on the other side and you're like, man, Daddy, why don't you just, at least for 1 year, just take us to a certain school? We had friends in neighboring schools that were doing really well, even though they were public. Now that I think of it, they were public schools, but they really had standards that were way higher than ours. And we were like, but then again, you think we were 5 kids. So there's no way we are moving to that school or any other school. So you have to make do with what is available. So if I'm speaking from a 10-year-old Reay, 11, 12, 13-year-old Reay, I'd say that is true. That was my reality. And so was it for most of my friends, my siblings as well, and most of my neighbors as well. Yeah.
I am curious, how did a different school end up with more facilities than your school?
I have no idea.
Interesting.
I really have no idea. I thought we were supposed to be on the same level.
Which is like the purpose of public schooling.
But they had more privileges than we did. Or so we thought. Now, when I look back, I'm like, maybe not. The swimming pool really made a huge difference.
That's so real.
It made such a huge difference. Just the swimming pool in that particular school. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
Like we really need. No, today it's normal for kids to go for swimming, even in, I don't know if that happens in public schools. I wouldn't know as a parent.
Some, now I can't say the name of the school, but yeah, there's some I have seen. Like even when I was in primary school, there were some schools that did have pools, and the private schools, would go to their pool to swim.
Whoa. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And to the question, it is a reality, but it is not correct. I don't think that extracurricular should be something that is viewed as a privilege. You need it. You are 10. You should be able to play outside.
Yeah.
You should be able to swim. I think adults should know how to swim. You should be able to have a sport. Because I think it's a very Kenyan, and I think even African way of viewing things, with good reason, but education being the only way that you're able to propel yourself out of whatever situation you might be in.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's true. Your kids should be able to play instruments. They should be able to sing. They should be able to find outlets.
Yeah.
And nurture talents. Paint,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing that should be reserved for people who have money.
Exactly.
They could do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yet it is.
Yeah.
Yet it is.
Private school kids are not as street smart as public school kids.
Unfortunately, I have to agree. Unfortunately. I think I learned how to live in Nairobi really in uni. Because I went to uni here. And I was not happy with that decision that my parents made.
Yeah.
They had their reasons. But I'm grateful that it happened, because then now I know how to do things. like there was a time I think I was in maybe first or second year, and I was meeting with some of my friends from high school, and we were having a discussion about something, and they were like, "Oh no, what am I going to do?" I'm like, "Oh, just go to such and such." And they were like, "What?" Like, I know town because I went to town with my uni friends. I know Nairobi because of the experiences that I had living in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends who then like finished high school and went to the UK, US, whatever, are not, because of the privilege they have, they're, I don't know if the word is stunted, but they were deprived of some of the information that would allow them to live in the world we live in, unfairly so.
I agree. I mean, I've used matatus all my life, and I'd see my friends being picked up from school and dropped to school, and I think there are people who laughed at us because my dad had a bicycle. He used to distribute bread. So when he was done, he would leave the house really early, and then he would pick us up somewhere and then drop us to school. Not all of us, but sometimes he would come pick us up in the evening before we started using a van. And people would be like, at least you have a bicycle. Some of us have to walk home. Some of us have to use matatus. At least you have a bicycle. But for us, it was really embarrassing because, first of all, we were Akorinos, the only ones in the entire school. So you can imagine all the attention is on us. When they see my dad or my mom, they know that...
For Reay.
And of course we had those two kofias, and that was for us, it was a bit embarrassing. But when we grew up, we were like, I'm glad I went through that, because now when I'm telling someone to meet me in town at a certain place and they don't know where it is, I'm like, how do you not know where that is?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Actually, you got lost where?
You just walk straight.
Really?
Look up and walk straight. What do you mean you got robbed? What were you doing?
Who does? But then it happens to you sometimes, and you're like, okay, I don't think I'm that smart.
Humility.
Yeah, but I agree. Some of my friends have had, again, to put in the work. I had a friend, a boyfriend actually, many years ago. And he was really street smart, but he was very privileged. I mean, he was from a wealthy family. But when the first time I went to Gikomba, he's the one who took me.
Oh, wow.
And he took me to the real Gikomba. I'm like, how do you know this place? Like, who told you where this is? And oh my gosh, I think it depends, as you said, with the background, the parents. How I'll go back to my Bible. The Bible says, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they grow up, they will not depart from it. And, you would think that is just spiritual, but it is not. It is everything you do for your child. It will really determine how far they can go and how far they can see. And I think I thank the Lord so much for the opportunities I got to, to learn from my friends who are more privileged than I was. But now I'm working hard to give my child the best, more than my parents could, because I don't want him to be like some of my friends.
Yeah.
I want him to walk in town confidently. I want him to have his phone in his pocket and come back with it.
Yeah.
Because he knows that this is Nairobi and
don't play.
Nairobi. So you need to be careful.
Right.
Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. But it certainly isn't. It isn't everyone. Yeah.
Public school limits ambition. Private school opens doors.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Mm.
There are just certain people you can be in the future.
Mm.
I will be a doctor. I will be a pilot. You won't hear anyone say, I will be a scientist, but you will hear that from a public school student because our eyes are opened to that is like Dr. Reay. I'm like, hi, my name is Dr. Reay. People are like, woo.
Yeah.
But really, it's not all that.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I think in my experience, I have found a bit of both because private school kids can become very complacent in the opportunities that we get. But so coming from an 8-for-4 private school and going into the British system private school I was in, it's like my world opened. My parents were certainly, they allowed us to dream, and me and my sister, and they allowed us to, decide what we wanted to be and what kind of things we wanted to do with our lives. But because of the system we were in, there was only one way that we were supposed to go. And then you come to high school and it's like, oh, I can do, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be a librarian if I wanted to, and it's okay.
Yeah.
But then also the extracurriculars and opportunities to then explore those things. Because we had Model UN, we had debating things. Like we traveled the world because we had those opportunities. And like you can debate and it can be that can give you income. That's your job. And it's okay. You can do music and that's your job and it's okay. And like there's all these different sides that you could do, even in those things. So it's an interesting balance.
When you mentioned music, it kind of triggered me because I remember when I started singing professionally. I've sung all my life, but when it became professional, my mom asked me, "Will you sing or study?" And I'm like, I can do both.
Yep.
I can balance and just do both, and I will do really well in both. But she was like, music? No way. When my siblings started dancing, my mom was talking to a friend of ours the other day, and she was telling her that when my siblings started dancing, she didn't even know they were dancing. And a colleague came and told her, oh, I saw your kids. Hey, they had a name. So she mentioned the name, and my mom was like, what is that? And the colleague just looked at her, sneered at her, and just left. She was like, how could you not know? We are out here cheering for your kids, and you don't even know what they're doing. To my mom, it looked like a vice. But really, when she looks back, it has opened up so many doors for us. So many.
I also think it's a very generational thing because like I still hear from my aunties when I was doing voice acting and that was my only job. They were like, wow, I could never have imagined that this would be a job. Like you're full time. And then on the flip side, some of them were like, so when are you beginning your career? Like, this is my career. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And knowing the kinds of schools that we went to, I think it's even more than a private school versus public school, but more what system of school you went to, because it does shape the way you look at life. That they could not see. Like these, like you were saying, these are the careers you do. You're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, what? Get money, and then you can do fun things after. So, yeah.
But I think our parents should do better. I think as a parent, I want to do better because how I was raised closed my my eyes to certain opportunities because I thought that is not for me. I would want to do better because there's a saying that goes, charity begins at home. Before you take that child to school, there must be a foundation at home. So you don't expect the teachers to lay that foundation. Lay it at home first before the teachers come and build on the foundation you have laid. Otherwise, even the school system will not help.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Public school kids waste potential due to lack of resources.
Yes.
So many times.
And it's not even their fault.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not.
Yeah. It's just, I think it, not to get on my soapbox again, but it is a systemic putting down of children to build complacency.
Yeah.
I've met so many like really brilliant kids that did not have the resources physically, money, time, whatnot. And like you were saying, a lot of kids are parentified because you have to watch the other kids. You have to make something of yourself so that we can get out of this, and using your kids as a bank to get out of this lifestyle. But also the resources mentally, emotionally, to step out of and do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And I do think it is as a factor partly of the kinds of schooling that they went through. And I think it is unfair to children because if public schools were good, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If people cared, if our government cared for children, if the teachers cared for children, this would not be a conversation we're having. And we have to, one, empower children, but we have to then call out the people who are in charge of these institutions and say, this isn't right.
Yeah.
We have to move forward.
Yeah.
Like, look at the world we live in. You cannot put these kids up against the world.
Yeah.
They won't last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And I also think that as a teacher, so many teachers are parents as well. As a teacher, even if you don't have the resources, you should let them know that it's not just money that, paves a way for you. You can use time. So many of us have time, but we're like, I don't have the money, so I won't do anything. But you have the time. So if you're a creator, create. I've seen people laugh at guys who sing in the streets, yet abroad, people make money out of those things.
Yep.
I'm like, we could do the same, but you're now comparing. You're like, oh, so unafikira huku ni majuu? Like, okay, it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
Like, I have time, I have a gift, I am using it. Instead of being at home, being idle, and an idle mind is the devil's workshop. I am telling you, I have experienced this.
Yeah.
The kind of thoughts you have when you're alone in a house, oh my goodness, I'd rather be a shop attendant. You'll see different things. Your mind will be opened to certain possibilities. But when you're just closed in a small room, there's no way you're thinking outside the box. It's not possible. And so it will start with those people that help build on the foundation that has been laid at home to actually let you know that you don't need money to move. You have other things that you can use. You have your gift, you have time, you have people. I mean, a person is a resource.
Yeah.
They can be your, as religious people call it, destiny helpers. They can, men of influence can speak on your behalf and you get the opportunity.
Yeah.
But then when you're closed up, nothing like that will come your way. Who will know that you have a certain gift?
Yeah.
No one will know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it also brings back then the conversation on extracurriculars because they also expose you to people that, like you were saying, destiny helpers who can propel you forward. You can see that, okay, this person is talented this way. Let me let me change their life. This doesn't have to be the way we live. Yeah.
I agree.
Our country's leadership bankrupts public schools so their kids can thrive in private ones.
Well, I have seen schools that are so run down. You couldn't imagine that any child would call that school. How is that even possible? How is that possible in a country that is so well developed? How is it possible that there's a child who's studying under a tree at this day and age? How is it possible that there are kids who are missing school because they do not have sanitary towels? How is it possible? You know, it does not make sense at all. Yet, there are kids who have everything. They have an excess. It's like they were given exceedingly abundantly above. You know? I'm like, this is the same country. The difference is too huge. Yet there are leaders who are doing a lot.
And it would be the same leaders who, like, that's your constituency. It's your country. But your kids will never experience that.
Exactly.
They would never take their kids to the public schools. And I might get in trouble a little because I did go to school with some of our, I don't know if present, but some of our leaders' children. And they would never, I know that their parents would never take them to a public school. They couldn't. And it's the same with hospitals. It's the same with across the board on basic human needs and requirements. They, for lack of a better word, steal from taxpayers who are paying to have their children go to schools that you said that you would provide, and are taking that money and enriching themselves and their families. And really, at the end of the day, greed is what will end us all. That greed is what has put our country where it is now. And like we were talking about earlier with values and how you decide to raise your kids, the lack of hard work, that is what it manifests as, regardless of the school that you went to. Because, like we know, like not all of them went to private schools. But a lack of values is what breeds that.
And it's so disgusting when you see them flaunting clothes, watches, cars. I'm like, wow. I remember during the Maandamano, some of them said, I have enough money to fund a certain number of people for a certain number of years. And I'm like, that is so shameful. It is so shameful.
School.
Like, go back home and look at the state your people are in.
There was, a couple of years ago on the news, there was a story about this. There was some flooding happening. These kids couldn't get to school. They had to cross a makeshift bridge to get to that school. Huh?
Like,
what? What are you talking about? Like, what do you mean they can't go uniform? Books. Why are they under a tree? No, for real, why are they don't have books? Meanwhile, you want to give us laptops. Where?
Oh God.
To plug in where?
Exactly.
With what Wi-Fi? Like,
do they even know what Wi-Fi is? They don't know. I mean, I'm just trying to survive. And you're here talking about a laptop. I don't even have 3 meals in a day. I don't even have 1 meal in a day. And I have to walk to school for a few kilometers. And I'm just 5. And you're here telling me that you will give us laptops.
Madness. Madness.
Okay, make it make sense, because
Actually.
it does not make sense to me at all.
At all.
It is so disgusting. Our country is in such a disgusting state. Oh, the education system is horrible.
Mm.
I don't even know what to say. It is horrible. Unless you can afford to take your child to a better school. Even the private schools are not that private anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a bus. That's what they have. So
Everyone has a bus now.
I'm like, ugh. Public schools had buses in my time. So a bus is nothing right now. So you're here thinking you're giving your child your best just because your child goes to school in a bus and the other walks to school. It does not make sense. If you would go to certain places like in Naivasha, interior Naivasha, you'd be shocked at the state of the schools in there.
It's 2 hours away.
It is.
Yeah.
It is pathetic. The roads, first of all, even getting there is a problem. And then you get there and the problems that are there are unimaginable, unfathomable. You're like, how am I in the same country with these people? I mean, am I still in Kenya? Because this does not look like my country yet. Our reality is, it is. And it's sad. It is really sad. They should do better.
I agree.
Yeah.
As an adult, I can say school sucks.
Yeah.
It does.
It does.
I have nightmares about high school, primary school. I have dreams about going back to school. I know they have different spiritual meaning, but still, when I wake up from that dream, I'm like, God forbid. God forbid. I'm not going back there. Because, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think for me, it sucked. High school, let me say secondary school sucked because my mom was really sick. She didn't even know where I went to school.
Oh, wow.
Some ladies just took me in and said, okay, there's no way you're surviving in this environment. You're a caregiver to your mom. You just finished your primary school. This is not giving at all. You need to go away. And at that point, I didn't even know if my mom would make it. Some people said God told them that these were her last days. And some people let her go. They were like, oh, that is God's will. You know, what can we do if God says it's time? I'm like, this is someone's mother you're talking about. Like, are you for real? You know, and my life is just starting. I'm the firstborn, and it was really, really hard. I remember, I think, crying myself to sleep for the first 2 years because I saw her in my third term of the second year. That is when I saw her in school for the first time. That is when she was able to travel far from home. Because I was taken all the way to Kirinyaga. I remember the day I was taken from Wangige to Kirinyaga. I cried the whole way. When I got to school the next day, my eyes were so swollen. I thought I'd never see my mom again. So school sucked. My primary school was not even better. I mean, I was beaten all the time. And if you don't cry in school, you will cry at home. So how is that fun? It's not. So I agree.
Yeah.
School sucks.
Yeah. I had a vastly different experience to you. Like if I start talking, we'd be like, okay, pack it up, go home. But I think because it was what I knew, I still to date live with the anxieties of some of the things that I went through in school, I would say especially primary school. Like I'll wake up anxious, like, did I finish there's no homework. There's no homework. You don't have to do math ever again if you don't want to. And
oh my God.
Yeah, so it did suck from the perspective of nurturing and teaching abilities and understanding and even what would you call it? Like learning difference. It did suck from that perspective because there was a lack of knowledge from parents and family, but also from the school and what they were able to provide.
Yeah.
And so then you are living your life through anxiety forever because you were made to feel different or stupid or slow. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
It sucked, but it sucked differently.
Stupid or slow. I felt like that sometimes. And I wouldn't, I think I have transferred that to my child a few times. And it sucks. Oh my God, now that I think of it, it's not a good place to be in. I don't think I would wish it on my worst enemy.